let's talk about nuclear fission reactors. So let's talk about what a fission reactor, and then maybe what we'll do here is that we'll come back and we'll talk about, whether it's good or bad. Again, this is such a political thing to talk about. Everybody has ideas about this, and very strong ideas. And by the way, they're both right. Here we go. So to talk about, how does a fission reactor work here? What we've already said here is that a chain reaction cannot occur in natural uranium. Only a chain reaction can occur is if you have uranium-235. So just to summarize what we've said here, a chain reaction cannot occur in natural uranium. Why? Because 99.3% is 238. It's 238. And 0.7% is 235 uranium. And remember, what this really means here is that this guy is not fissionable. This guy is fissionable. So if you're going to release energy, you need 235. So what you find here is that what you need here is that you need a critical experiment where you have enough 235 to actually do that here. So another thing that we said here is that to create fission reactions, one needs slow neutrons. You need slow neutrons to be able to be captured by 235 uranium. So by slowing down the uranium, the neutrons, you're more likely to cause a chain reaction. So the father of nuclear fission, without any doubt, is Enrico Fermi. So Enrico Fermi, he's of Italian descent. Enrico Fermi is the father of nuclear fission. He's the one who really got nuclear fission to work. He created the first nuclear reactor, and he's primarily responsible for making the bomb work. There's lots of people, so it's hard to say what happens. I mean, where his fate lies in. So here we go. So now, what I want to say here is that there are 3 fates of a neutron interacting with ordinary uranium. By the way, uranium is a metal. Maybe I should, it's complicated. No, I'm going to just say uranium. And so here's what it won. So the first thing that it could do, what could it do? It may cause a fission reaction with 235 uranium. The other thing that it could do, it could escape the uranium into non-fissionable, didn't spell that right, fissionable surroundings. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. Or it could be absorbed by 238. But if it's absorbed by 238, it could be absorbed at 238, which stops all fissions. So you gotta be careful with that. So what you typically find here is that when you send in neutrons, they're of different speeds here. So here's what they ended up doing. So they used graphites to make the first fate more, so to increase the probability of creating 235 fissions, one has to slow down the neutrons. So the way they did this here is that they use graphite. They use graphite in reactors to do this. And let me show you how they do this here. And I'll give you an analogy to give you a sense of what I'm talking about. So what you find here is that in this analogy here, what you want to do here is that think about a golf ball. Hitting a wall or a baseball. So what I imagine is it's something like this here. Imagine that I'm going to throw a golf ball. So here's my golf ball right here. Right? So if I look at my golf ball, I could imagine that it has all these dimples. So here's my golf ball. And when I think about my golf ball, I just flung this thing. So this guy's coming in that direction. And what I have here is that I have a wall right here. Right? So when I look at this wall, what's going to happen is that this guy comes in, and what's it going to do? Sort of like going to come right back. And it's going to come right back at roughly the same speed. Right? They're roughly going to be coming around the same speed here. So what I'll say here is that the golf ball rebounds off the wall with hardly any speed change. So that means if I look at the speed of this ball coming in, it's roughly the same speed as it's coming back out. But that's not true for a baseball. So now if I come in and I do the exact same thing where I take my golf ball and then I heave it at a baseball, and I could imagine that if I have my baseball right here, and maybe I'll make my baseball blue here, what you're going to see here is that when it collides with the baseball now, and it comes in and it comes off this thing, what you're going to see here is that the golf ball actually slows it down more. So what we're seeing here is that in this scenario here, the baseball is better at slowing down the golf ball than the wall. So here we go. Now let's apply it to our situation. So in the case of a neutron, if a neutron rebounds off of a heavy nuclei, it hardly loses any speed. But if you have a lighter carbon atom, graphite, and a neutron collides with it, the neutron loses considerable more speed here. So that's really the key right there. So for nuclear reactors, we then say that a neutron rebounding off a heavy nucleus hardly loses any speed. And the reason why that is that it acts like a wall. But if you have, so what you'll have here, so then a neutron rebounding off of a carbon atom, which is graphite, the neutron loses considerable speed. And this acts like the baseball. So once again, when I look at the carbon atom, this is what they call graphite. And so what they do in reactors, they're called, so graphite in reactors are called moderators. Okay, they're called moderators.